What's up, guys? Cam here from the 508 Sneaker Store. Today I want to do a different video. A video that's not easy for me to do, but it's something that I really want to put out there. And the reason I want to put it out there is because, in a lot of interviews and all the things that I've done, I've always answered questions that other people have had for me, but I've never really discussed things that I've wanted to talk about in this business as far as reselling sneakers goes. Now, going back 11 years ago, that's when I started reselling shoes, or I started collecting them at least in 2012, 2013. Over the course of time, from like 2013 to 2016, I was a collector. I only collected sneakers. I wasn't a reseller. I was buying just for personal use. I was keeping them. I had a ton of them. I was putting all my money into shoes because it was cool and because I thought it was a better investment than putting money in the bank, which it turned out it was. But that was more luck than it was anything else. In 2016, that's when my resale career really started going up, using online platforms and eventually leading to my first storefront, which is when I really blew up locally. And within a year, I outgrew that and grew into my new store. And now my new store is already at maximum capacity, not even 7 months after opening it. And I want to say that comes as a product of multiple things. Okay, now that is not just some kid who got lucky or some kid whose parents gave him a ton of money to start a business, because that's not the case with me. And that's not the case with a bunch of resellers. Is there plenty of resellers out there who have been handed a business to start? Absolutely. And if that's how they got going, good for them, but not everybody has that luxury. And I know more people in this business right now don't have that luxury than do. And I'm a person who came into this business without help. That's not true. I had help, not financial help, but I had help by stacking lines. And you're talking like conventions. I had always help going to conventions. I was on the convention scene for years, dragging my brother, dragging my friends, dragging hundreds of pairs to fucking Rhode Island, to Connecticut, to Maine, New Hampshire. It didn't matter. I've gone pretty much everywhere on the East Coast to buy sneakers. The amount of miles I put on my Jeep Wrangler in 1 year from driving to buy stuff out was ridiculous. The car only lasted me probably 3 years and it was falling apart. But those are the sacrifices that you need to make in the beginning if you're going to be successful in this business. You're never going to make it in this business unless you start at the bottom and you learn everything for yourself. Because if you're handed everything, you're most likely going to fail because you're not going to know what the fuck you're doing. You need to learn this business from top to bottom if you're going to be successful as a reseller. Everybody thinks it's really easy to go and open up a store and sell shoes. It is not easy at all. The reason people think it's easy, more or less, is because you're not out there, 10 hours a day doing this, doing that, moving, all that stuff, which I was a mover for over a year. I've worked full-time since I was 18. I've had plenty of jobs. I've done nutrition. I've been a mover. I was installing refrigerators. I've done everything. Sneaker business is all mental. It's all up here. You will be so mentally exhausted when you do this job at high volume on a regular basis, because there is so much numbers involved in this business. It's not even funny. You're always taking stock into consideration, what you're buying at, what you're selling at. You're always moving pairs. You always have new pairs coming in. It's all about quantity. It's all about stock. It's all about inventory. It's all about numbers over numbers over numbers over numbers over messages. You wake up to 100 DMs every day. You have to answer all these people, or else you're not going to get the business. And if you don't get the business, your business isn't going to be successful. And then you decide you don't want to answer, and then your customers are upset with you, and then you start feeling remorse and anxiety and stress for not answering them, and you become overwhelmed. And this is an overwhelming business to be in, and you need to be ready if you're going to be a store owner to deal with that, especially if you want to put up numbers and, you know, reach high figures in this business. And you have to really capitalize on all the markets: the Facebook market, the local market, the online market. You know, your store needs to be pumping numbers, your online needs to be pumping numbers. Like, it's just so much all combined together that you need to focus on. And it can really be a lot at first, but eventually you'll get it down, and it will do nothing but show good things your way, because this is a business that really can benefit, you know, a ton of people, and it's not one that I see going down anytime soon. My bad, guys. The camera cut out there. But like I said, yeah, you have to start at the bottom, and you have to work your way up. And it's like that old saying where, you know, it's like you can give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, but if you teach him how to fish, you know, he'll eat for a lifetime. That's what this game is. You know, you can take a $10,000 bundle of sneakers and you can put it in someone's hands and give it to them, and they'll know nothing about the shoe business, and you'll see that $10,000 turn to zero real quick, because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know the market, they don't know how to buy, they don't know how to sell, and they don't know how to run a business. You put that in the right person's hands and he'll come back with 20 grand, because that's what this business can do if you're in it the right way and you know what you're doing. This is a very successful and profitable market right now. The shoe business is crazy, if you want me to be honest with you. And that's just from firsthand. I'm telling you this from firsthand. I'm not lying to you. I'm not here to bullshit you about anything. The sneaker market is where it is at right now. You know, there's a few other hot commodities at the moment, but sneakers is by far the number one. Everybody is wearing shoes nowadays. And I know everybody's always worn shoes, but not like this. Like, Dunks were not popular. When I was in high school, I was one of the few kids with Air Jordans. Not everybody thought Air Jordans was cool, and not everybody collected and traded. There was a small group of people, but it wasn't like this. There's probably more kids in school right now with Dunks, Yeezys, and Air Jordans than there is without them. And that's crazy. And this market is just on the up. You know, I know that, you know, everybody thinks that there's a crash coming, and there may be, but I highly doubt it. And right now, to be successful in this business, you really need to do a handful of things. And the first thing is, you need to know what product is going to sell. You know, you see my videos where I'm buying and I'm selling. You know, I call stuff bricks. There's stuff I pass on. Like, there's a lot of stuff you need to avoid buying in the market right now, because you're going to get stuck with it and you're going to take an L. And that's not what you want to do. So the product is super important. You need to know how to access product. You need to, you know, how to authenticate it if you're buying it off not, you know, direct sources like Snipes or Foot Locker. If you're not hitting raffles and you're going through Facebook, you really need to know what you're doing and what you're buying. Other than that, you know, your platform is super important. You really need to put a lot of time and a lot of effort, and you might put hundreds of hours into your Instagram or your Facebook page and your YouTube, and nothing might come out of it. But that 1 hour that you randomly put into it one day might blow you up, or it might take you to that next level. And I always say that it's fine to fail. Okay, failing is part of every journey in life. You're gonna fail. You're never gonna get there, or very few people are gonna get there all at one shot. You're gonna fail, and you're gonna fail, and you're gonna fail again. But you never lose unless you quit. You can fail 99 times, and that 100th time when you succeed, you can fucking win, and you could end up going on and becoming a millionaire. You just can't let your failures bring you down, and you really can't give up. Another thing that's big right now is, you know, your location. There's a lot of places that the sneaker market is stagnant. Some locations are better than others, but you really need to use your resources. You buy locally, you sell online. The market is different everywhere. What's one price here is different in Cali. It's different in the Midwest. You know, even New York is expensive as hell, and it's only 4 hours away from Massachusetts. Like, the market is different everywhere, and you really need to capitalize on the market. And I will tell you, like, this business is not for the faint of heart. This is a tough business. There's a lot of competition at first. People always aren't willing to work with you. There's a lot of anxiety. You know, there's a lot of mental health. You know, you're always stressed. You're always not sure if you're doing the right thing. You don't know if the product you're going to buy is going to work or if it's going to flip or not, until you get, you know, into more of an expertise level. At first, it's a really risky and it's a really scary business. And you need to understand that when you're going into it. And that's just me telling you that firsthand. You know, like, I never thought that I was going to resell sneakers as a career. You know, like, when I was 20, 21 years old, I didn't even know what I was going to do with myself, okay? Like, I've worked so many jobs. I've changed my career path so many times. You know, like, you can ask anybody who knows me. Like, I've always had a different career path because I did not know what to do. I sat up so many times at night with myself, just thinking to myself, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, I'm not ever gonna be anywhere. You know, I've been so depressed at some points because I don't know, am I gonna make it? You know, am I gonna succeed? And truthfully, I don't come from that great of an upbringing. You know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I was ever homeless and that I ever struggled to, you know, eat dinner. But there was a lot of times that were really rough. You know, my parents separated when I was young. I moved 5 times in 5 years because my father couldn't afford to live, you know, and I was, you know, in high school going into graduating, so I was still young. You know, like, there was a lot of hard times, and I've had a lot of mental health problems over the years because of it, and it's helped shape me to the person that I am today. And it's never an easy road to get to where you need to be, you know. So for all you out there who are thinking about quitting their passion and their career, you don't. You know, I know where you come from, man. Like, I never thought that I would ever be in this position. I really didn't. You know, if you asked me 5 years ago, if you told me, yo, Cam, you're going to have a lit sneaker store in Fairhaven, Massachusetts, that is going to go from being a small mill location to one of the biggest sneaker locations in Massachusetts. Not to blow myself out of the water, but I can tell you that my store is one of the biggest ones in Massachusetts right now. I would have told you you're fucking bullshit. I would. And it's just a product of showing that, you know, like, just don't give up. It's you build the right connections with people. You know, you see me in my videos, like, maybe not so much yet, but, like, I'm always good to people. The kids come into my store, I'm always giving them merchandise, you know, cheap stuff. It's not like it costs a lot of money, but it makes them happy. You want your customers to be happy dealing with you, because that's what's going to make them remember you, and that's what's going to make them come back. If you're the reseller who's always worried about, you know, getting an arm and a leg and getting the absolute most out of every sneaker, you're probably not going to last in this game, because eventually somebody's going to come along who's a better plug than you are, and they're going to take you out. And that's just how it's going to go. Like, you really need to build connections with people in your store, so that when they're coming through, they're not only coming through to worry about sneakers, but they're coming through because they want to do a deal with Cam, or they want to be there and they want to work with you because you're the person that they have experienced good things with, or they've heard about. And, you know, that's what's most important in the resale game, is really your customers, because without them, you're not a reseller. You know, there is no reselling without customers. You know, so if there's a few things that I can give to new resellers, it's definitely that you don't want to quit. And You'll never just start out at the top. Nobody does. But that's not to say that you can't get there. I spent years reselling sneakers on the side of a career that I didn't want to do. You know, I was a mover. I was doing work at the shipyard. I was painting. I was doing all kinds of 40-hour work weeks that I hated. I hated them, but you know what? I needed the money to get going and to set this business up to the point where I could make this my living. So you need to pay your dues early, and in the end, it's going to benefit you. And no matter what you do, you need to just put everything back into your business and focus on yourself. But you also need to make sure that you work with everybody in a positive way, because the more positive you are working with everybody else, the better feedback you're going to get, and the more positivity that'll come your way is too. You know, people who work together end up making way better connections, and the business furthers than the people who cut ties right off the bat. And I'll tell you that there is times where you do need to cut ties off in business, because it doesn't always work, you know, but that's a different story, and that's something that we're not going to get into. But not everybody is meant to work together, but there's also a lot of cases where it can work out. But your connections really need to be solid, guys. So support your boy who resells, you know, support your boy's clothing brand, your boy who's a rapper. You need to support your people and support strangers if you expect that in return too. And that's why I'm really big on, you know, going and helping out the local guys get going, because I know how hard it is to start at first. And when you see how hard it is to start at first, and you know how hard it is to start at first, and you get your big break and your business takes off, and it's a great feeling, you want to see that feeling for other people, you know. And that's the type of guy that I am. I really like seeing people do positive things, you know, and I can't wait to see what 508 has in store for it. You know, 508 is a great brand. My store is great. I have a gym coming. I have a streetwear store coming, and 508 is such an unknown area. I can't wait to just keep, you know, putting it on the map. I already have people, you know, from states away talking about my shoe store, and it's just a great feeling to know that I'm in my hometown doing something that I love, and people are really taking on to it. So I just want to thank you guys for listening to what I have to say here. And again, any resellers in the game right now, you know, if I can throw you any tips, or if you can take anything away from this, I hope that it helps. And just keep living, guys, and keep doing your best. And most importantly, don't give up on your dreams, okay? All right, guys, I'm out.